giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Steele. Boom! Let's get it, Cowboys Nation. We got a good one lined up for you today. Yes, indeedy. Cowboys offense versus the 49ers defense in part 2 of our breakdown. We're going to talk about what the Cowboys must do, have to do, if they finally want to have some success against this Niners defense, because we know the Niners defense has your number. The Cowboys, they're going to have to change that cell number, get a different cell service or something, or these boys going to keep calling. So we'll get into that. We're going to jump into the film room. I want to show you where you can attack these guys like we always do every single week here. And, you know, we take advantage of it. We're going to hear from one of our guys as well, Cowboys Nation, who said, hey, man, there might be some changes coming from a schematic standpoint. Music to my damn ears, I'll tell you that much. But what's up with your Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
Hey, my man, I don't know who said it in here. Oh, Mr. VA Eastside, you got the wrong show if you think I'm finna sell your hopes and dreams. That's not what we do here. We keep it a bean, squad. Ain't that right? We keep it a bean. But did y'all see what happened this morning, huh? Did you see what happened this morning before we get into Cowboy stuff? How we doing, Bomb Squad? Remember the other day, we already dropped the bomb. Remember the other day, Jerry got all upset on the radio, right?
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
And, you know, he had one of those moods against those guys. And he said, well, where the hell are you going to get players at? Shan or Sean or RJ or Bobby? Where are you going to get players? It's like as soon as he said that, the rest of the league said, hold my beer. 1, 2, 3. 3 different players have been on the move ever since Jerry Jones said, well, where are you going to get players at? Sean. Wake up this morning in the crack of dawn. Breaking news all over my phone. As soon as I saw Kansas City Chiefs, I said, oh, damn, they done traded for a receiver. Trade for, yep, here it comes, wide receiver. Wide receiver, who's next? DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, my God, bro.
Oh, hell no.
Shouts out to KC, man. I mean, but, you know, you just knew they were going to not sit on their hands, right? Like you knew they weren't going to not do anything. That's just how Brett Veach moves. I try to tell people Brett Veach, I don't know how, you know, he's received outside of KC. I respect him a whole lot as a guy who follows team building. He's amazing at his job. I think Brett Veach, Spags, and Andy Reid are a GOAT trio in this modern era. A GOAT trio. But he woke up and he said, oh, Cooper Kupp's available. DeAndre Hopkins is available. We see how our offense is off to this weird start. Say less. Let me pick up that phone. Called the Tennessee Titans and are shipping over a 5th round pick to the Tennessee Titans that could turn into a 4th round pick. But, well, Sky, what about the money? DeAndre Hopkins is scheduled to only have $8 million left on his final year of his contract, where the Titans are going to take on a portion of his contract. Well, Scott, they got more cap than the Cowboys, right? The Kansas City Chiefs have the least amount of cap space in the National Football League. The Buffalo Bills are down there too. The Jets are right in the middle. So, it's really not about cap for those guys. They just looked at a possible way to get better, and they went out and did it. Now, why is it tying into Cowboys? I'm just poking fun at Jerry saying where you're going to get players. Because as soon as he said that, I got all these breaking news. So you got Amari Cooper going to Buffalo, Devontae Adams going to New York, and now DeAndre Hopkins going to Kansas City. Super Bowl champions on that side. The guys on this side trying to dethrone the Super Bowl champions. The Jets ain't finna do nothing, but they at least tried it, right? Yeah. These general managers like, hey, man, I'm not sitting on my ass. You won't find them going on the radio talking about where you're going to find guys. Crazy, man. Crazy. But shouts out to Kansas City Chiefs fans. I know they feel pretty good about this. Look, and this doesn't guarantee that any of these moves work. I told you guys many a times. It's not really about the result. I mean, it is about the result. Let me say that. It is about the result. But the fact that you're attempting to achieve the ultimate goal, the ultimate result, I think matters more, especially when you're a team that has done moves like this and have succeeded in regards to Kansas City. So the fact that they're making the attempt, I think, is the big thing, because as a fan, you can say at least my squad is trying, And that's all you can do, man. That's all you can do. If I had to rank each one of these, I would go KC, Hopkins, Buffalo with Amari, and then Devontae third. And again, I'm not saying all these players are good players. It's just, I believe Devontae, they gave up a third that could turn into a 2. KC gave up a 5th that could turn into a 4th. And I think it was a 3rd for Amari Cooper. So I'm looking at the player in compensation. Hop is a damn good receiver. He had 1,000 yards last year with a porous offense. And now he gets moved on to go play with Patrick Mahomes. We'll see how it works out. See if he can stay healthy. So I got D-Hop to KC, Buffalo. I'm getting Cooper, and then Devontae Adams comes in third for me. D-Hop's younger than this guy. I mean, he actually, in all seriousness, let me see. Hopkins age. Wow. Shut my mouth. He's not even I thought he was a little bit older than that. All right. The only one that made sense, says Scruggs, is Coop for 807. You think Hopkins didn't make sense? Oh, you're talking about for the Cowboys. Oh, brother. If you rolling up in here talking about money, my guy, yeah, you've just been duped. The only one that made sense, if you're talking about getting for the Cowboys, was Amari Cooper, 807. I mean, if you think that getting DeAndre Hopkins for probably like $4 million is too rich for you, you've been duped, my guy. You've been duped. Oh, I know you trolling AG, but I'm just shocked how young he is. Cause you're right, I am older than him. Chris said, I'm surprised how Sky Moore's been this bad. That's the thing, right? Like, they've thrown draft picks at the situation for the Chiefs. Ain't worked out. They didn't say, well, we're just going to wait for our young guys to come through. They didn't do that. Sky Moore had 2 years. They won a Super Bowl and caught a very important catch, for a Super Bowl victory against the Eagles. And they like, nah, we're still going to trade for Kadarius Toney. That didn't work out. We're still going to trade for Don Johnson. They aren't just sitting on their ass, man. Now, if you want to say in regards to the Cowboys, Devontae Adams, a bit rich, that's fine, because that could turn into a 2, and we know the Cowboys just aren't good at recouping those type of picks. They love the draft picks, although we know the 2s have been hit and miss, might be a bit overzealous. They've been a lot miss and some hits, but you could say a 2. If it turns to a 2, is too much. Cool, but a 4, a 5 that turns to a 4, no. And you really weren't getting Amari Cooper. Let's be real. They didn't want Coop back. But Hop, it's a good one for them. If he stays healthy, I'm as a football fan excited to see how that works out. As for the Cowboys, though, they got to get ready to take on the San Francisco 49ers without adding any players, because Jerry said, hey, man, we can't add any players. So you got to roll with what you got here. All right. Fortunately for the Cowboys, they are going to get the 49ers off of a bye. The Cowboys coming off of a bye week. And for those that still have any type of hope for this, and I'm speaking of the offense, the defense, who knows what's going to happen there. But offensively, for this thing to turn around and kind of gain some momentum and some steam, the hope that you really have isn't anything you're really seeing on the field consistently. You're not seeing nothing good consistently on the field. It's what happened last year. Last year, you went into the bye week and you made some changes. You changed, adjust, and emphasize some things. And you came out and you kind of got on a bit of a roll there for about a good, 7-8 weeks. They kind of got on a roll. This year, we'll see. Schedule's a bit tougher. The opponent coming out of the bye is a bit tougher. They're wounded on one side of the ball, but they are not wounded on the side of the ball that has gotten the best of you in the last 3 matchups. The Cowboys offense has not been able to figure out this Niners defense, no matter who the defensive coordinator has been, and they do have a new defensive coordinator. So the media spoke with a few players, and I told you guys, when it comes to the run game, the running back room, go listen to Rico Dowdle. That's no knock on Zeke or anything like that, but Rico's very transparent. Rico's going to speak his mind. He's actually, sometimes he slips up and tells you exactly what they're doing. And I mean, I don't know if other teams are listening, but if I was, I'd say, hey man, they're working on his left shoulder. Well, I'm gonna attack it. You know, he does that. But as a fan, it's transparent. I love that. I like to know exactly what's happening in there. And they asked Rico, hey, how's the line helping you guys out? And Rico talked about a little bit what they're doing, cross talks, and schematically, some things may be changing. Here's Rico Dowdle on all of that.
We talked about the running backs early on. I know there was questions about like the aiming points, pressing it, setting the blocks up and things like that. But I mean, everything pretty much plays hand in hand. We got to help them out and they got to help us out. So, and then coming off the bye week, we're going to make a few changes and stuff like that as far as scheme-wise and what we're doing, a couple things. But I think everything will be all good.
Those scheme changes, are they going to be subtle or something that we'll see?
Something simple. You don't want to change too much. We had training camp and we're in week 6 of the season, so you can't really just pretty much change everything. But definitely can make small changes to help improve it and try to take it in a different direction.
So, again, very transparent. I don't know if in that specific drop there you heard when he was talking about like the very exact things that they're working on in those meeting rooms. But the fact that I'm hearing scheme changes is music to my ears. Shouts out to my brother Foots. He hit me up the other day and was like, "Hey man, I love what Mike McCarthy is saying there." I flat out told Foots, bro, I can care less what Mike McCarthy is saying at the podium. I'm over this guy. I'm at the point right now. I don't trust him. I don't believe in him, and I hope for the best, and I hope he does gain me personally my trust and my fanfare. I'm just ready at some point to just keep it moving. I will root for Mike to get his act together and his team to get its act together under Mike, but I can care less what he has to say at the podium now. I truly do. But one of the things he did say, when Foots and him were texting back and forth, that I thought was like, oh, I thought you guys were been doing this. There's a bunch of individual meetings. Running backs here, O-line here, wide receiver here, tight end here. But they weren't coming together collectively to speak on these things that needed to be done as a collective. I mean, I have to ask some of my NFL friends how normal that is to just everybody individually do their thing, then we get to the practice field, as opposed to everybody individually put the game plan together, then we come together collectively to then do that in the meeting room, that is, and move forward. Don't know how common it is, but I thought, oh, okay. So apparently now they're starting to get everybody in the same room to say, hey, we need this, this, and this to be done so that we can do X, Y, Z, right? We need ABC done so we can get to X, Y, Z. And when you listen to Rico, he's talking about how, yeah, you know, we did a crosstalk or whatever. He was talking to the linebackers. We're in the rooms with the linemen, and we're talking about pressing and setting up blocks and things like that. He did mention that before earlier in the season, but these are training camp things to me. But it is what it is. You got to work on something. And that's what they're working on. And I tell you this, you better figure it out. While this 49ers defense is not the, top ranked type of defense that it's been in years past, they still, much like some of these other organizations that have a philosophy, right? They're physical. It's still a physical group with some players, some dudes out there that can make you pay. That's for damn sure. So let's get to it and break it down.
Break it down.
The 49ers fired their defensive coordinator after the Super Bowl. Some people were shocked, but those around San Francisco were not. Something I found out when all that happened was that Kyle Shanahan actually has a defense that he wants to run, right? Now, he's not a defensive coordinator, but he tells DCs, hey, this is the style of defense I want to play. You have to do that. And they were butting heads last year. They promoted Nick Sorensen, who was an assistant under the Niners for 2 seasons before getting the promotion. He was in Seattle for a long, long time, learning under, I think Dan Quinn might have been there actually for a year or two. He was an assistant there. So not a super tenured coach, but been in the league for about a decade. Finally gets a chance to be a DC. One of the things that you can tell Shanahan wants is a vision-based defense for the most part. So this is a defense that's going to be looking at the quarterback, right? They're not going to blitz a whole lot. They're going to rush their 4 guys, going to make you work down the field and dare you not to make a mistake, or say, okay, run the ball then on our front 7. Now, again, in years past, they were healthier. They were a little bit better up front. But again, every year, this team still finds a way to be able to get after the quarterback, to be able to pressure these guys. And it's a lot easier to do that when you got a guy like Nick Bosa. So far, Rico, since we're listening to you, they've been stingy per tote on the ground against these running backs. They rank 6th in the league in yards per carry to running backs. Last week, it took 30 totes to get 100 yards, but it worked, right? Especially when you got down into the red zone, and that's something that we've been hammering home all year was you got to be able to run the ball in the red zone. If they think they're going to get to the red zone against this team and just chuck it around, it's another flawed plan in my opinion. But they aren't just giving up a whole lot to these running backs per tote. You're going to have to, as we say every week, against this type of defense with these type of players, you got to keep these guys off kilter. You got to keep them off balance. You can't just go into this and be like, we're going to just drop back 40, 45 times purposefully. You need some type of complement. Again, I'm not expecting Cowboys Nation, this offense to just turn into this amazing run game. I've pretty much given up on this run game having any type of consistency from a quality standpoint. I'm not fighting anybody on that no more. They don't know how to do it. They don't know what they want to do, who they want to do it with. I'm just hoping for the best in regards to this run game each week. Just give the pass game something else to lean on from time to time. Have some moments. I've lowered the bar to the lowest you can possibly get at this point. On the road, Sunday Night Football, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, you're going to need to have some semblance of balance. You just are. And against an offense that might not be as high-flying and scory against you, it wouldn't hurt to purposefully try to get some balance, right? Hey, I'm not afraid of this offense. Hopefully, we'll see what you do. Doing what Detroit did. We'll see the tweaks that they say they've made on the ground, but still not an easy team to run on. The rest of the way, though, the rest of the defense, they've been without one of their all-pros, Hufanga, Greenlaw, right? He's been out for a while. Hufanga and Hargrave have missed some games. I want to say Hargrave might be out for the rest of the season. Neither of these guys are going to play. Big losses, right? But they still have some big dogs. As we talked about, Nick Bosa being one. But before you get to Nick Bosa, doesn't it start with Fred Warner? Cowboys Nation? Like, Nick Bosa's that guy and everything, but I feel like this Niners defense, and I'm not a Niner fan. If there's Niner fans in here, you guys will have more of a better feel of this. Bosa and Warner are both household names, I think. Well, Bosa maybe a little bit more, just because of the name, right, and some other things. But Fred Warner just feels like the Jarvis of this defense. He is what makes this thing go, both in the pass and run game, in my opinion. Talking about a Hall of Fame linebacker. He's on that trajectory, barring any type of injury. He's a force there. So far, he's racked up, Fred Warner, that is, 4 forced fumbles already, 2 interceptions, a touchdown on the year. And if I'm not mistaken, last year when we played them on the road, wasn't it Fred who knocked that ball out on the sideline against Tony Pollard? Pretty sure it was him. So you got to keep your head on the swivel whenever he's lurking around. He's a driving force to this defense. And the chess match between, Mike, Dak, and Fred, I think is going to be one of, if not the biggest deciding factor in this matchup. He's not an easy guy to outsmart, but you have to make the attempt to, and we'll get to that a little bit later. You got to keep this guy on his heels, and this defense in general, you got to keep, because the minute Fred Warner knows what you're about to do, you've seen it. You've seen it in some of the games this year. I mean, he's what we would say Sean Lee was, right? Like Sean Lee, when he sees it, it's a wrap. And this guy's better, in my opinion. So you cannot be obvious against this guy. Can't do it. If you're going to be a predictable offense against Fred Warner in the middle, it's going to be a long day for you. Nick Bosa. So stop me if you've heard this before. Another problematic rusher for the Cowboys to go up against, right? Nothing new that they are not used to. You would hope the more they are playing these type of rushers, TJ Watt, Hutchinson's, Myles Garrett, now Nick Bosa, they are developing, plans to be able to execute with these guys out there. Week 1, it was, hey, Myles Garrett just survived 95, Tyler Guyton. He's going to play almost all the snaps over there. Against TJ Watt, hey, Terrence, you up, bruh. I need you to survive number 90. The next week, Aiden Hutchinson, he was getting busy a little bit. Got hurt, though, but it didn't matter. They still were able to do whatever they wanted to do. This week, Nick Bosa is going to be everywhere. Nick Bosa is going to be everywhere. He'll rush from this is per next gen stats. He'll rush from the left side 54.1% of the snaps, the right side 43.3% of the snaps. And what makes Nick Bosa, I mean, he's just a good player in general, but what makes him really tough to deal with, right? He will line up in a wide 15. I mean, the rest of the defense is not in wide 9, but Nick was every 1 second, he's just lined up regular. Next second, he's 5. Next second, 7. Next second, 9. And he's in that weird Jaguar type of stance. And his get off is among the best in the league. Him and Myles Garrett statistically have one of the quickest get offs in football. And that makes it tough to deal with because then he turns that into power and he can do some things from a technical standpoint, beating you with his hands. When you go look at, his sacks this year, he's got about 4 of them. A lot of it is just, technique, effort, strength, and that get off. That's tough to deal with. Much like TJ Watt, much like Hutchinson, much like Garrett, you don't want to leave Terrence Steele or Tyler Guyton one-on-one with this guy often. Sometimes it has to happen. I get it. Better get a chip. You better be, have a play ready to misdirect him. You better have a play ready to get the ball out fast. Don't play around and try to get cute and leave these guys one-on-one all game. Now, I get it has to happen. And as much as, these guys have had their struggles against these top dudes, Tyler Guyton is 6th highest pressure rate, I believe. Terrence has been the better of the two. Oddly enough, you wouldn't notice this, based off of the temperament around Cuzzo. But he's allowing a career low 8.2% pressure rate this year. I just feel like his losses are really loud because they're sacks, right? Or they're big hits against these top rushers. I don't care if he's allowing the lowest career low pressure rate. I'm not going one-on-one with Nick Bosa all game. Okay? So get some chips, some dip if you need to. Double team. I don't care what you need to do. Don't let him wreck this game all day. Don't let him do it. Now, the rest of the line is not the same as it once was, right? Arik Armstead. Remember when they had, who was it? Armstead and the other guy. I cannot remember, but they had the two defensive tackles in the middle there, just dominant, like the Cowboys went against them a couple years ago. They don't have Hargrave right now, but Malik Collins is there. We should know about Malik Collins, right? Former Dallas Cowboy, got better when he went to Houston. Now he's in San Francisco, and he's 3 sacks on the season, right? Malik has always been a solid pass rusher, though. Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd's such a strange player. He just floats around the league and just quietly is productive. Not overly productive. You don't notice him till you notice him. Dallas dealt with him a couple years ago with the Rams, and he didn't do much, but he's playing with Nick Bosa, right? He didn't do much against Dallas. He did good with the Rams, but he's playing with Bosa, and he's getting some of these sacks. He's playing his role. One thing I noticed in that KC game, and Dallas should get ready for this, right? Young offensive line that has been struggling with stunts. They'll stunt you to death. They might not blitz you, but they're going to run some, TE stunts, ET stunts. And there was this one play. Leonard Floyd destroyed the right guard, got up and made the sack on Patrick Mahomes. When I say destroy, I mean pancaked him. Both fell to the ground. Gets up, makes the sack on Patrick Mahomes. And one thing that we talk about all the time about the young offensive line or young players in the offensive line, BB and Guyton, is that they are struggling with the exchanges, right? And I think that's starting to trickle down from time to time. You see Zach trying to figure out, oh, snap, here comes the loop, and now, he's beat. They're going to do that. They don't have Hargrave. They may not have the Arik Armsteads of the world, but they're going to loop Malik Collins with a Floyd. From time to time, you'll see Bosa do the same thing. In fact, we saw that in the playoff game years ago. So they've got to be ready for that. Not a lot of blitzes. They'll show one from time to time. In fact, I think they're bottom third maybe in the league in blitz percentage. So that's not what they do. They want to drop back 7, rush 4, and make you have to sift through this vision defense. But there are ways to beat that. But they will also go single high and man up. And we saw them do that against the Cowboys last year where they said, oh, y'all boys kind of soft. Y'all boys are kind of soft, so we're going to play physical in your face defense at the line of scrimmage and make you beat us. That will be interesting to see how they decide to play that in this game. Because if they do play a bit of vision defense, I'm going to tell you what they must do to finally beat this squad on the offensive side of the ball, right? But before that, hey, man, it's been a minute. A lot has been going on. And our guy, VIP, said he got to get up in here and talk. What's up with your VIP?
Guys, look. Let me get through my trauma first, guys. Let me breathe. Let me woosah.
Woosah.
Yo, our owner at this point is sabotaging our team. I don't know if he's trying to get into the top 10 for draft picks, but to say that he's not going to help and you see we're ailing, B, that says a lot to me.
That's
that
real.
Says a lot, guys. That's
real. I mean, and let me say this real quick about, because y'all know me. I don't like to just sit on what this guy is talking about, all the Jerry Jones. I don't like to do the Jerry Jones thing every day. But I do think it's telling when we have to be accustomed to and numb to and used to our owner, general manager, president, going on the radio multiple times a week and trying to tell us about what's happening that we already know what's happening, or telling us what he's not going to do, or or saying something crazy. Like, y'all understand that's not normal. That's not A, normal, and B, I don't think it's advantageous to you as a front office if you're trying to actually make a move or whatnot. So it's wild sometimes when you see people put the cape on for him, and I'm like, man, you've been duped. You've been duped into thinking this is okay. It is not okay, man. It's not okay to go out and say, I traded a certain player. I didn't care about the compensation. I just wanted to get the bread. It's not okay to say I didn't want to bring in a certain player because I was worried about paying somebody next year when the person on the roster actually makes more than you and he's more than that player and he's a third stringer. It's not okay to come out and tell the world, hey, he's not playing. I don't care what the coach says. He ain't playing. When the coach is in the press conference saying, man, I like the way he's looking. None of that is okay. So for all those, that think this is cool, you've been duped.
We've been duped as a whole nation. We've been duped. And what's crazy is as we sit back and look at it, it's like, yo, are you purposely doing this? I really don't know if he like headlines, but I was reading something the other day that regardless of what, he's getting his $9 billion. The Cowboys are worth $9 billion. That currency is still going to move. So I don't know if it's just we are a team of an organization playing football, because we play more politics than football. Like, I don't want to hear about Big Mike. I'm sick of Mike McCarthy and his ideologies. This guy's got to go, B. He has no scheme. And you're not even I can see if you're a leader of men, you're not even a leader of men. So only thing Jerry like them yes men, and he that's his ideology. Jerry like the yes men. He don't like no coach that's gonna push back against him. But until we change the system, we have no system. We have no offensive scheme. Our defensive scheme left with Dan Quinn. So we really have no. What are we hanging our hat on right now, Scott?
Brother, can you put the kids to bed real quick, y'all? If we have any children listening and ladies, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to say, but it needs to be said. Your head coach has no balls. And because he doesn't, that matriculates down the rest of the team, in my opinion. That's just how I feel. Now, obviously, it starts even up higher, but I found this part interesting. When you, owner, president, general manager, go on there and critique play calling and concepts publicly, if we do that, fine. That's what we should be doing that. Find me an owner, general manager, president of a football team, going out saying, hey, my offensive coordinator whack his boy. and he's still on the team. As a head coach, hey Jerry, you're gonna have to see me. Now we might not, might not have to see me with the hands physically, but I'm going out. You want to play the media game? I'm going to play the media game.
Yeah.
You, Jerry.
Mike better get outside with it. I would get outside. I was like, well, Jerry, I haven't gotten a free agent this summer. Well, Jerry, we didn't even call somebody that was working out in our backyard. And this dude is running crazy over the league, and you didn't even call him, B.
Come on.
And he said he wanted to stay in Texas.
So
come on, man.
You go on the radio and say everybody else need to get their shit together but me. That's crazy. And I'm sorry. So if I'm Mike and if I had some cojones, you know what? If I'm going to go out, I'm going out. I'm going down with the ship, right? I'm going down as the captain of the ship. Period. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to sully me on the way out.
But that's just I'm going down swinging. Look, this might be your last coaching job, period. You better go down swinging, B. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. And what's crazy to me is I really have no faith in his coaching. Like, if I got to worry about him being like, if we're worried about us going up against a coaching match, a Shanahan, we being out coached. So now we just got to rely on our players, and 9 to 10 of our players are hurt. So, B, I'm optimistic that we're going to win because we win dumb games like this that we shouldn't win. But I have no faith in Mike, bro. I have no faith in Mike.
You know what we need to be this week? We need to be the Arizona Cardinals week 3. We're what, 5.5-point underdogs? It was 7.5. I think it went down once the injuries start coming out. We need to be the team to upset, you know, a road dog that's favored by a bunch, right? We need to be that team. But, you know, you brought up, you know, coaching. I think that I said here, you see my thumbnail, chess, not checkers.
Facts. I love that.
It has to be chess this week and not checkers. Like, I know there's not a lot of confidence, you know, at least for me. I can only speak for myself, and Mike McCarthy. But this week, Mike, I need you to say, all right, at least for this week, I'm shutting you up, Sky. I'm going to go out here. We're going to be creative. We're going to get movement. We're going to have a solid game plan. You know, we're going to attack weaknesses. We're going to go out here and be confident and have a good week of prep. And go out there and do this thing, because if you're gonna go out there and play checkers against Fred Warner and them boys, well,
you're gonna get scraped. You're gonna get scraped, B. And like you said, checkers not simplify it, Mike. Simplify. Look what works. I mean, damn, we got a coach for you. Look what works. Look what you use, like put CD in motion. God damn it, you got somebody that runs a 4-2. Why don't you put him in motion? Yo, B, like I don't understand, man.
Toxic Tom said we playing Connect 4. oh God. Yeah, got it. We playing Connect 4, fam. That's crazy. Hey, VIP.
We're all red pieces. You know what it is, man.
Yeah, man.
I still love my Cowboys. I still ride for you, Sky. No Slurpees. I don't give a goddamn what our record is. I still don't want to see no Slurpees. I'm on your heel, Sky. Any Slurpee in our I do love Toxic, yo. Toxic, because he be spitting some real. So I can't get on his heel because he spits the real. But anybody other than that, man, I'm on your heels, B.
All right, bro. Appreciate you, VIP. Hold on, y'all dropping some. Y'all dropping some games in here. Back in the day, I used to love these games. Shoots and Ladder, Candyland, Connect 4. Playing Guess Who. That's what we playing, right? Guess Who? Boy, we better play some chess this week, man. Better play some chess. But see, I'll get to y'all. I got you. There's a couple other calls. We'll get there. I want to jump into the film here in a quick second. Let me pull this up. Somebody said we playing Goldfish. Oh, man. Let me bring this back to the game, because I know how this is going to go. Talk about the game, we go talk about that. We talk about the game. I know how this goes. I know how to move. I know how to move and shake in this thing. So, all right. Well, Scott, how can you get at these boys? I don't think it's going to be via you having a successful day on the ground. We know that, right? But that doesn't mean you just, we're going to throw it 45, running 8. Nah, you still need to have some semblance of balance. We talk about that. But you are going to win this game by having success in the pass game. You have to have success in the pass. Your pass game cannot look how it's been looking every other week, right? It's not been great. So I'll go back and I'll look. Flat out, this is about as simple as it can get. If you heard me say this before and you're tired of hearing me saying it, whatever. You cannot be stagnant against this defense. You just can't do it. I went and watched the Rams game, the Seattle game, and Minnesota. Now you'll see two correlations there. And Minnesota and the Rams kind of have come from a similar tree. And they did things that were successful. And those things that they did was they weren't stagnant. They use pre-snap, at-snap motion to gain leverage in the coverage, right? Seattle didn't. I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm just waiting. Okay, winner, didn't do it. Another third down, didn't do it. Almost every third down, these boys are super stagnant, and you wonder why they struggle. Because this is still a respectable defense on the back end. Davius Ward and them boys. Fred Warner's a part of this, in my opinion. This kid, Malik Mustafa, got trucked, but he delivers he can hit. All right, we saw that. But more importantly, they are a connected group. We talked about this with the Saints, right? Like the back end, no matter who's in or who's out, because they've been playing in this type of scheme for so long, they know where to be. So if you're not going to manipulate where they need to be on their spots, they'll get to their spots and they'll make it tough. The Vikings did that. Or I'm sorry, the Vikings did not remain stagnant. The Rams did not remain stagnant. You got to get these DBs and these linebackers moving. So let's kind of go in the film room, and I want to show you exactly, how and why you should be doing that. This is against Minnesota, and we know there was one play against Minnesota where Justin Jefferson went off for a 98-yarder, but this is the movement I'm talking about here. So this is the post or the at snap, pre-snap and at snap motion. At the snap, he's going to run wide of the numbers because we're trying to push this safety wide enough. Why? Well, because what we really want to do is we want to put pressure on that safety so we can get this seam route right here. So if we can get this safety pushed out just enough, we'll have that seam shot. And we know Dak loves the seam shot. So you got the 9 route from the motion guy. You got the comeback route here from the outside guy. And now just that simple motion and 9 route gives a big enough window for delivery right here. I mean, great throw, by the way. But like I said, we know Dak Prescott can really deliver this type of rock. So at the snap, watch the safety. Because of him pushing this far out, he has to get to the numbers. He's at the numbers. And what you really want to watch is the kind of the small details. The slot receiver has to stay on this hash, right? We want to take advantage of the space. And he does. I won't call it an easy completion, but you get a completion. Okay, let's go to the Rams. Tutu Atwell. Who does Tutu Atwell remind you of? In my opinion, Kevontae Turpin. Again, pre-snap, at-snap motion with that same style of, hey, at the snap, we want you to just kind of run this 9, right? And get outside the numbers. And while you're getting outside the numbers, we'll run this dig right underneath it. And because of you pushing that way, when they drop back in this zone, in this vision defense, watch Tre'Davious Ward. Ward has to honor and respect Tutu Atwell. And look what happens in the middle of the field. Wide open for a big pitch and catch type of play. Think I'm playing? Once again, same type of concept. We're going to get Tutu Atwell outside the numbers. And he's going to kind of run a fake in and out. And we're going to have, instead of a dig, we're going to have him sit down on this. I think he's basically reading the zone and finding a soft spot. But watch what it does once again to the coverage. Because this receiver is sitting down, this safety has to honor it. And now you got basically 3 guys in one area for one guy. And Tutu Atwell, I don't care about Tre'Davious Ward. He got the speed to outrun him. So technically, I mean, if you really want, Stafford can deliver this ball right here. But he says, nah, I got the deep route one-on-one. Movement, pre-snap motion. It's all there. Same game. Once again, Tutu Atwell, at snap motion. This time we're going to get not a stack, but he's going to squeeze between this slot here. And at the snap, he gets wide open because he's not dealing with any pressure at the line of scrimmage. There's no type of press. And that's just pitch and catch, not rocket science. It's not rocket science, but you can't be stagnant. We know that because we saw the Cowboys do it last year. And in this play here, another situation where we're going to get pre-snap, at-snap motion. Get them up the seam, right? And that's going to push out these guys. But look what it does with Fred Warner. Fred Warner sees it. Fred Warner's already cheating over here. And his kind of responsibility is to make sure that Justin Jefferson doesn't beat him inside. But fantastic release and move at the top here. Whew. Jefferson knows he's pushing so far out, number one, because of the motion, and number two, because it's Justin Jefferson, beats him inside, and now got an easy pitch and catch here to Justin Jefferson for a first down. So you got to move these guys. And if you think I'm playing, man, go watch the Seattle game. Go watch, I don't know who their OC is now. Go watch who's the court. Geno Smith try to fit the ball into this tight coverage, into these windows where these guys are stagnant. Go watch. It didn't work in that game. And it was surprising that they did it because they were at home, right? Minnesota, the Rams, they did a lot of movement. Now, those teams had better weapons than the Chiefs did. The Chiefs are kind of dealing with a bunch of injuries, but the Chiefs, what they decided to do was say, all right, look, we're going to play your game. San Fran. We're going to try to matriculate down the field. And once we get into the red zone, here you go, Kareem Hunt, and try to rush it in for some touchdowns. That they played that game, and they could do it because they said, we got the best defense in football on the other side. Yeah, we got the best defense in football, so they played that type of game. But if the Cowboys want to get big plays and consistently get big plays, or hell, you can use this in the run game too, right? You can use that kind of ghost motion, push these linebackers out, delay, play action. You can move the ball. But you cannot be unimaginative and you cannot be stagnant. If the Cowboys go out there in San Francisco and they are stagnant, well, you just got to hope for the best. Because what that's saying is, all right, our guy is going to beat your guy every single time. We don't have the dudes across the board to do that. We don't have the dudes to do that. Okay, let's get back. That's true too, Special K. We got the wrong Mick coaching. We got McCarthy and McVay. Let's get back to the phone lines. Let's get to our guy, Poindexter. Good morning, good sir. Uh-oh.
Hey.
Oh, there he goes. What's up with you?
Oh. Man, what is happening? I'm talking about 2 weeks, man. We got Jerry Jones telling lies, and we got 49ers dropping like flies. This it's going to be a crazy game, man. It seems like we talk about just about everything but football. But the film breakdown you just done, it seems like, why aren't the Cowboys looking at these type of plays and say, hey, these are the plays we can run? You got them right there. We can run those same type of plays. And, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the owner and his son, manipulating the coach, telling them, hey, you got to play this player. You got to do this. You got to do that. But it's going to fall at the feet of Ford, man. It's just going to fall at the feet of Dak Prescott. He hasn't had a real good year so far, but I've seen him. I've seen him just play some phenomenal ball, and that's what it's really going to take, man. It's really going to take moving the pocket. I don't know what's going to happen with this offensive line, but I've seen Dak Prescott move around a little bit and, kind of compensate for that offensive line. But you're going to have better pass patterns, man. You're going to have, you have to have better concepts.
You ask why aren't they doing these things? If you look at the identity of those teams, that is who they are. And I mentioned this to you guys a couple of days ago when we looked at the plays that have worked. Like the Cowboys truly don't have an identity because in my opinion, what an identity is hey, these are the things that we excel at, we're good at, and that's our base foundation. For 2 years, I don't personally believe you can say, well, this is what we do consistently well, and we're building off of it. I just feel like we're just like, hey, we're doing this one play, one series, 1 week, and this the next week, and you know what? Right. 4-88 is just so damn good and on fire right now. That's what we're doing. Where these teams, everything is built off of their identity. So that's why you don't see Mike doing it, because that's not what Mike does. That's not what this scheme is about. It's not about manipulation of the defense. It's not about running the ball and setting it up off of running. There's nothing that they, in my opinion, that they do that's baked in their identity that takes advantage of a defense. I said this to you guys before. When we do the motion stuff 1 week, it just feels like we're getting a shot in the arm from the doctor, and then it wears off, and we're like, oh, we need another shot. 3 weeks later, we need another shot. It's not a part of who they are.
Yeah, man, that's what it looks like, man. But if you don't have a chance to beat the 49ers, this is the shot.
Best shot.
Like I say, they shorthanded. We've had that same thing, that Pittsburgh game, even though it was a good game that we won, it turned out to be a Pyrrhic victory because we lost. We lost players and things like that. Some of these players get back. I have no idea if Vlad going to play. I have no idea if Parsons going to play. We have no idea what's going to happen most of the time, and maybe it's a good thing with the Jerry Jones stuff and everything. Maybe it's a good distraction to distract everybody from what's happening with the team, and maybe the team is really working at trying to get better. We can only hope for that.
Point is, I don't doubt that the coaches are trying, the players are trying to get better in the meeting rooms and on the field and things like that. I don't question those guys' work ethic. A lot of these, they don't get here. Excuse me, being lazy players. Is it enough though? I mean, that's the question we have to ask ourselves.
With all the stuff going around, I don't know. Me and you being men, we understand that. When somebody challenges your manhood, usually you'll step up. That's part of the game of football. You know what I mean? You got to get out there and show you a man out there. You know what I mean? You can't hide out on a football field. It's a physical game. And you got to stand up and you got to be a man. So hopefully this team will do that. We've been through some years like this. We still cheer for the team. That's going to be the bottom line, man. We're hoping that they step up and that they play some good football. Every football game is different.
Yeah.
I think they need to come into the mindset that nothing's going to come easy. You're going to have to work hard for everything you get. Even though the 49ers are down some men, they still the 49ers. You still had that thing in your head. I think it came from the beginning of the year. Hey, we're going to face these 49ers again. These 49ers have had our number. You know what I mean? So you're gonna come in with something, you're going to come in feeling some kind of way about beating the 49ers, even though, they short or whatever. You still going to come some way by beating these 49ers.
Yesterday I said, I need them to have the same energy the Lions had against the Cowboys, where they was like, oh, y'all got us on that weird play, or not play because he won for 2-3 times, but y'all won on that weird ending. We took that personally, and they clearly came out and said, we're not just going to beat y'all, we're going to beat you to a pulp. Here is you ever see The Walking Dead when Negan had the bat? Oh, okay, Negan has the bat. He lines up all the people and he just mashes their head in. Their heads are already mashed in. The Lions say, oh no, we want to make sure that there was nothing left. Lucille just kept going for blood. Like we need to have a Lucille for this game. We need to have that type of energy, but we don't normally play like that though.
Yeah. Well, I don't watch The Walking Dead, man. I was really young and I saw, like the zombie movies back in the day, and I kind of stay away from zombie movies. I just, I'm not the zombie man. I just cannot do the zombie man. But one more thing, we was talking about the old school games, and I just wanted to bring out an old school game we used to play back in the day. I know it's older than you. It's called Stratego. Have you ever heard of a game called Stratego?
I have not. Is it like? Go ahead, explain it real quick.
Well, it's a game. It's like chess, but you play it with like an army of men. All of them from a general down to a private. And if you outrank the man, you take the piece. And you have bombs on the field and stuff. It is a great game. It was one of the games we came up. That was one of like the number one games. It was it was like a chess game, checker game. It was all together, a whole. It was a warfare game. It was great. It was called Stratego.
Yeah,
Any old school person remember that.
Yeah, I'm saying
that was the game back in the day.
They got a lot of versions of it there. One of these things says 65-year anniversary, so it sounds like it's been around for a long, long time.
It's been around a long time, man. It's been around a long time.
All right.
But hey, man, look, we gonna come into this game, man. Once the whistle blow on the game, man, it ain't gonna be about Jerry Jones. It ain't gonna be about all the stuff that happened the last 2 weeks. It's gonna be about two teams getting out on the field, man, and seeing who's gonna win this battle of attrition, man, because that's what it's gonna be. It might come down to an Aubrey field goal, if they play that type of game. But I think it's gonna be an inch at a time. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of big plays. I hope we get a big play or two, but I just think it's going to be a game of inches, and, it's going to be a game of attrition.
All
so
right.
How about them Cowboys?
Appreciate your point. Hey, never disappoint, man. Thanks, man. Stratego. Yeah, I ain't never heard that one. Look it up here. Let me see. Let me lock this. Here we go. Oh, wait. We'll see. Oregon Trail. Yeah, I remember that. No Special K. I don't remember that. IG said playing like zombies. That's for sure. Yeah, we come out playing like zombies. Y'all remember that stat I told you? 30-9 opening possessions in the first quarter. 31-6, I think. Opening possessions in the third quarter. Oof. Not good. Let's get Jake the Great. Good morning, Jake the Great. Good to hear from you, man.
What's happening, man? I'm coming out of my cave, man. It's going to be a tough season, so I think I got to try to hold Cowboy Nation down. A lot of them young fans ain't been through this down part of the season, so, man.
Sure I say we. I mean, I ain't that young. But sure they have. We turned it around, though. We got to see if we can turn it around.
I don't know, man. I don't think there's no turning around this time, man. I think Jerry Jones' meddling has hit the door, you know what I'm saying? Because I have zero confidence that we're going to win this week. And people can say, yeah, you're not a Cowboys fan, whatever. I have zero confidence because I would be more happier if Fred Warner was out and Bosa was out and somebody in their defense because their defense is still there.
Jake said, look, I'll be happy if two of the best players on defense in the National Football League wasn't playing. Yeah, I feel so good. We all would feel good, Jake.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. That's what I want. When I'm looking at people saying, oh, they hurt. How they hurt? It's been their defense that kicked their ass for the past 3-4 years.
Right. But see, that's why yesterday, Jake, I wanted to start off with again, I'm not wishing injury on nobody, but they injured, so it is what it is. We're going to talk about it. The good part of this game, the good matchup to me was that your defense, who has been depleted, is going up against a depleted Niners offense that hasn't been that great anyway. Now, they've been great running the ball, but you know, they've been struggling this year. So I wanted to start off with the good part of it. But the opposite side of the thing is their defense ain't hurt. They still got their guys.
They got everybody.
And like I said, they've had your number for years, and you refuse to change it. Hopefully we change cell phone services this year. And, you know, and when they call, we don't pick up. So if not, oh, brother.
Man, listen here, man. If we're all hurt and it's about coaching and scheming, I have zero confidence in Mike McCarthy. I don't know who the wide receivers is over there, but something tells me one of them is gonna ball out and they're just gonna cook us. We might end up losing the game like 10-3 because I don't see what Mike McCarthy is doing. He ain't got no balls. He ain't got no creativity, and it's sad. You know, I was sitting there thinking, whose fault is it? You know, I almost want to blame you, Skywalker. I'm like, maybe Mike McCarthy don't like. Yeah, because either Mike McCarthy's watching all your film breakdowns, great film breakdowns anyways, and he's like, damn, maybe Skywalker's undermining me or something. I'm going to show him. I ain't going to do none of this motion. We still going to win. And
it's no one. Well, I mean, we could definitely track it all back to the guy up top. But I don't think it's one singular thing, right? Because I always say this to y'all. I bet this is what we're working with from a schematic standpoint, a coaching standpoint. It is what it is. That's not changing. So now I talk about the coaching having to overcome the front office. Now your players will have to overcome the coaching. So it's not one particular thing. It's just a potluck of silliness from time to time with this up and down, right? 3-3. That's where you've been.
Man, we might have to hit Mike McCarthy with some reverse psychology stuff and like look at the great job he's doing with the no motion and just rub it in his face until he gets it right. Because other than that, it's gonna be a long season.
The media came at his neck. He was for 2 weeks, and he was a little perturbed about it. And he talked about how John Park was giving him the numbers and all that. And the very next game, we saw all of it. We saw the most shift motioning that we saw on the road against Pittsburgh. So I don't want to hear nothing about on the road. You can't do it. Clearly, they showed it. And then basically that was here. We did it. We're done doing it. And the next week, we did none of the things we saw the week before. So that's why I said, bro, I'm really done expecting this to be consistent. But that does not mean when I'm studying these teams, if I see that this is what has been successful, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say, well, this is what they need to do. I get it. It's not a part of their identity. It's not part of their DNA. But I think what makes a good coach great is your ability to adapt to, what's happening around the league, follow the trends. Shotty talks about this. and what works for your squad. I showed you a bunch of plays that work for Dallas. Lean into those things. A lot of those things happen to be motion, but lean into those things. So
it's like a broken record. He's showing what we need to do. Mike McCarthy rolls his eyes and do the complete opposite. But last thing before I go, just say if something catastrophic happens and we get our ass whooped again in San Francisco, do you think Mike McCarthy gets fired?
I said yesterday I believe so. I just don't know how you survive that.
Like, well, I'm gonna let everybody else go. That's all I want to ask, man. I ain't gonna say how about them Cowboys, man. How about the draft? And hopefully we do something next year, man. All right, man. Skywalker, I'm gone.
Yes, sir. Salute. I mean, I could be dead wrong on that, right? Obviously, but if you ask me, if they go out and get Wade Phillips again, right? Middle of the season, embarrassed on the road. How do you survive? You can't go 48 points in the playoffs, 44 points week 2, 275 yards week 3, 47 points in week 7, or whatever, 6, I'm sorry. And then another 30 point, 40 point. How do you survive that? I just don't see how that's possible, man. But I guess anything is possible with this organization. Willie T, let me know if you're calling in. I'll open this thing back up. Me and Willie T supposed to have a scheduled fight today, y'all. Let's hit DC 202. What's good with you?
Man, what's going on, man? It's a 17-year-old again. I'm back on here, man. I just want
brother. You can tell me. You can give us your name. You ain't gotta say you're 17. I ain't gonna do that to you, man. What's your name?
My name Oron.
Oron?
Yeah, Oron. Yeah.
All right, Oron. Oron, the 17-year-old. What's up with you, brother?
So listen, right? I talked to a few 49ers fans, right? And I feel like I was talking to them, and I know some of them. I feel like some of them, right? They don't know football. The ones that I was talking to, because they said they're going to win, right? But you can't say that so confidently because of the injuries. That's the thing to me. Like, you can't just go in here and say, oh, man, we're going to win this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got some people out. But knowing the Cowboys, they might find a way to still lose. Knowing the Cowboys. With all these injuries out, they might find a way to still lose.
I mean, like I said, this team has your number. And I do think there's something to that when you aren't that good yourself. Now, you could say, well, Sky, Cowboys had the Lions number. Yeah, but the Lions were a better team than you, right? Like, we knew that going in, especially dealing with injuries. So
yeah,
there is probably that comfort level, which I doubt that Shanahan got these boys feeling comfortable, especially how they played. You know, that's why I wish they kind of came off of a win and not a loss. But whatever. I'm pretty sure they're confident. Here's why. Let me tell you why I'm pretty sure they're confident. Again, not a Niners fan. I have no idea the vibes over there. Here's why I think they're confident, though. They know we are more physical than you are, regardless of who's out there. And they know that we are a front-running team. We haven't been one this year, but we are a front-running team in general. So if we punch them in the mouth and this thing has to drag for 4 quarters, fine, so be it. You know, we've proven that if we need to drag this thing for 4 quarters against them, we can punch them in the mouth and win it. So if I'm a 49er fan, I know you said they shouldn't be confident. Why not? We've been a soft-looking team all year, and that's a physical team, even if they haven't been good. So, you know, I don't blame them for feeling confident.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. But if we do win, I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear about
the conference has been unlocked.
Being out, I don't want to hear nothing because we ain't say that when we lost to Detroit. But we did lose pretty badly, though. We had to lose that bad.
They pulled out Lucille, and they beat our brains out. Like that was personal to them. It doesn't feel like this. It doesn't feel like this team is taking it as personally as Detroit took it. But I would like for them to. Let me say that. I would like for them to.
Yeah, man. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for letting me up, bro.
Of course, man. Of course. All right, my guy. Appreciate you. Somebody said, man, get your ass in school. Man. This is restricted. I don't like that. Let me. Who this? Woo, Willie T, my guy, fight him. First of all, sir, let me give you some props for calling in, because I always tell people, man, y'all be saying stuff in the chat, but call into the show. I can't follow the chat. But good morning. What's up with you?
I know you can't fight in the chat, but it's fun to fight in the chat. I enjoy fighting in the chat, man.
You said you enjoy fighting in the chat?
Yeah, I enjoy fighting in the chat.
I know
with the people that in the chat.
I know, but when you fight me, I like to be on the phone and fight. I can't fight in the chat, man.
I know you can't fight in the chat. I mean, I don't really like to fight with you. I mean,
I know. And by the way, when we say fight, y'all, when we say fight, we not really. This ain't nothing crazy, dog. But he has an opinion on something or a thought about me in regards to the running backs that I need to get clarity from, because hey, maybe we actually agree. That's why I always say call in. Maybe we getting wires crossed. But what's up, man?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is I'm a big running back fan, and I don't believe running backs are getting a fair shake at things.
I think that's fair. I had this conversation with Twan before, right? Like, obviously the backs, if you look at the money, if you look at, contracts, they have been devalued from a financial standpoint. Is it fair? No, but that's where we're at right now in the league.
And we really should be. I mean, sometimes running backs who get paid shouldn't get paid, but there's running backs who should get paid, but everybody digs them all in one pot because of the fact that if you're not putting up a certain amount of numbers, they don't want to pay you, which is understandable. But if you're putting up the numbers and you play your rookie contract out, you should get paid. But people have this idea that use the running back up and then trade him for draft another one. Brother, it's hard to draft a talented player. Every draft doesn't pan out. So therefore, if you use your running back up in your rookie season, then you go around, draft another running back late in the first, second round, get the running back, and then he doesn't pan out. You back to square one.
I mean, we can.
You had a good one on your team.
Yeah, Willie T, we can do that for a lot of positions, right? Like, but you're talking about a position that people are saying, hey, 4 or 5 years and then move on. I do think there's something to that, But if you're a special back, that's where the conversation becomes, okay, is this guy special enough to still be able to be that special back in year 6, 7, 8, 9 while we're paying them at the top of the market, right? And that's where the conversation comes in regards to paying, right? We're talking about paying a back right now. That's the conversation, the topic of conversation. Who is it? Is it Derrick Henry, who got a second contract in Tennessee, right? Because you look at his contract now, it's not a crazy contract because you do have to take into account other things. Hey, is this guy injury prone? How much mileage does he have? Where does he fit what I want to do? Did I draft a running back that we know we can get by on? Because rookie running backs can have a bigger impact, or young running backs, that is. So I do think there's more to it, but I also think there's exceptions. Derrick Henry for freaking $5 million on your cap hit is an easy exception. It's hard to even call it an exception. Like, that's $5 million, bro. Like, how are you crying about that for a guy like Derrick Henry? You know what I mean?
Derrick Henry should have been. I agree with you. Derrick Henry's a back that you pay, in my opinion. After his rookie contract, he was underpaid in Tennessee.
Oh shit!
And then on top of that, when he leaves Tennessee, I'm sorry.
He got a nice contract when he was up for a deal, in Tennessee.
In Tennessee, he got underpaid. He got around $10 million, just over $10 million when he got paid in Tennessee. And Zeke had the big contract. I thought Derrick Henry was underpaid on his second contract, but he accepted that deal.
Okay,
so when he got paid in his second contract in Tennessee, it was underpaid in my opinion. But he was that team, and he took the contract he got.
He got top of the market deal, so he got his bread.
Yeah, he got his bread, but I think he could have got more. He should have been me. I would have paid. I thought he should have paid more for what he did for that team. Because if you look at it, who was that offense besides Derrick Henry?
Sure. That's fine. Either way, talking in circles, he got top of the market. That's really what matters. But continue on with your point here.
My point is, running backs are not being utilized like they should. And should they get paid? Yes. Okay, because of what they bring to the team and what the team value in them. undervaluing the running backs because, in my opinion, I don't think if they don't get the big explosive play, don't pay them. If they feel like they don't have much tread left on them because they're getting close to the age of 30, you don't pay them. I don't think that's right.
I mean,
that's just my opinion about that. I mean, everybody tries to say the numbers, like when they get 30,
what's his name?
Everything's downhill.
David Montgomery got. Granted, it wasn't like high numbers, but he got the top of the market deal a couple years ago. Josh Jacobs got paid this year. Who else was it? Who's the cat that went to? Well, he got traded, so I'm not sure if they extended him to the Texans, but I feel like they did. Mixon got moved. I think he was on a deal. So I mean, these dudes is getting paid. They're just not getting paid like you see receivers and defensive ends and quarterbacks because, unfortunately for you, Willie T, the market and the play and just everything that's happening now in the league, it is saying that I can go draft me, whether it's in the first round, second round, third round, I don't care where the hell you want to say it. I can draft me a younger back on a rookie deal and have success with them if I am set up to do so. Right? Like if I have a scheme, if I have a line, or if I just have a philosophy that is advantageous to a running back, then why would I spend? How much does he get? $90 million on a running back, right? Not just using Zeke's number because that's never happening again. But why would I do that when I can go draft a Henry in the second round, a Gibbs at the late first round, or he actually went middle of the first round. Kyron Williams, look what Kyron Williams did that. Look at Jordan Mason is doing. So like these things matter when you're discussing the running back position because there's so much other data and evidence to say, hey, if I have this set up right, I can get me a talented back in the draft. That's just facts, brother.
Yeah, you can get a talented back in the draft. And if you have a first thing like Kyle Shanahan, who builds the scheme around the zone blocking with a certain type of running backs that fit his system, they look good. But there's some of them look good for a year with them, and then some of them don't look good because if the system was great, built around those running backs like that, he wouldn't have got a CMC. He knew he needed a CMC who could do more than what he was getting from the backs he was getting.
There's no doubt if I can get a CMC. Exactly. Now answer me this. How many CMCs are in the league?
How many of them in the league? In my opinion, one. Just him.
Right.
There's not a lot of guys in the league that does what he can do.
Right. So, that's why I said yesterday, there are exceptions. And when we were talking about, last year when they decided to bring back Tony Pollard on a franchise deal, my thing was, okay, look, man, you that's $10 million on your cap. You could have used to go elsewhere. $20 million if you count franchise tagging a damn tight end. But I'm like, okay, if you're going to bring him back like this, then he needs to be featured in the pass game, featured in the run game, and you better draft a guy to help him out so he's not being, getting 400 touches, right? And they did neither of those things. And Cowboys Nation lambasted Tony Pollard, right? I never thought he was the issue here. I thought a lot of other things were, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but that was a Jones mistake. Jones messed up by one franchise tagging Pollard. They should have went ahead and worked out a deal ahead of time to pay him and utilize him properly. Because I was a big believer in the Zeke Pollard 1-2 punch. I like that because I had my ground and pound from Zeke, and then I had my explosiveness on the edge with Tony Pollard.
Everyone
but
loves
a
1-2 punch. Like and that was my my main issue. It never was about getting rid of Zeke for the Zeke people. It was about replacing the physical part that he supposedly brought in regards to the Thunder Lightning. It never did that, and we're still trying to find that type of balance. But like you said, that's a Jones issue.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue we have with the running back is the Joneses. Sorry, it's the Joneses. But if you look at other teams on how they're doing things, like when you look at Detroit got two running backs, Gibbs and Montgomery. They run it perfectly. When I look at the Falcons are running Bijan and
Toxic.
I forgot
Relax,
his name.
Brother. Relax, Toxic. Mason does not look better than Christian McCaffrey. Stop it. Okay. We're Toxic. I'm with you on the backs, but come on now.
When you got the Falcons got two running backs, they're looking good right now. Nobody's complaining about who's getting the ball. Nobody's complaining about what they're doing. When you look at a lot of teams on how they run it, and using their backs properly, they got a scheme.
Right.
We don't have that.
Right.
We don't have a true running back coach, and we have ownership that doesn't believe in, how to pay and, use the players properly.
If that's the case, Toxic, Rico Dowdle looks better than Christian McCaffrey because he's not playing. Like, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? When Christian McCaffrey is out there playing for them, he's literally an MVP candidate. Like, stop it. I'm not coming at you here, T. It's just me and Toxic fighting in the chat right now.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
but
okay.
No, like I said, we can disagree on some things on it as far as like the players and running back. Don't have a problem with that because we all have our opinions about those types of things. But I mean, like I said, I'm not big. I like the draft. I love young players coming in, but you're not gonna always find a CMC or a Derrick Henry in the draft.
I agree.
Sometimes it's better when it comes in. You got to either pay them something to get them in there to use them.
I tell you this.
We don't do that.
I'll end it on this. I would rather have a Callahan, Stoutland, Hank Fraley, Mike McDaniels before he was a head coach. He was a run game coordinator. Anthony, is it Lynn? I would rather have an assistant coach, offensive line / run game coordinator that's a staple of my team for a decade, right? Or for 5 years or whatever it is. I would rather have that than drop $90 million on a running back nowadays. You know why? Because those type of coaches and schemes and run game coordinators have proven that they can draft a trait running back and have success. And guess what? If they happen to stumble into a Gibbs or a Robinson or Christian McCaffrey, now that goes up another notch. So give me the Stoutlands and the Fraleys and the McDaniels run game coordination and the Shanahan run game. Like, give me that over anything in regards to the run game, and everything else is gravy to me. And I'll leave it at that for my final thoughts.
I can't disagree on that part of it because if I got a coach like that can coach a running game, then I may be able to get more success from a back who's not an elite back compared to just having an elite back with a bad coach. So it's kind of hard to disagree on that.
Right. And if you do stumble into an elite back, guess what, man? Your run game goes up infinitely.
Yeah.
All right.
Great talking to you.
Well, good to hear from you, Willie T. I'll let you get back in the chat and get into these fights, man.
All right.
All right, brother. Let's all right, somebody else snuck in here. Let me do this real quick. Let me do this one time for the one time. We've been hearing from Mississippi Cowboy a lot. Let's hear what he got to say, then 304 to end this thing. Well, to end the calls. Good morning, Mississippi Cowboy.
What's going on still? I saw just what happened this morning. I first woke up, and the first thing I see is Kansas City got the DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about these boys, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing I saw this morning, and I'm just looking at how proactive the Kansas City Chiefs are. They whatever they're missing in their positions, they address it no matter what. Mm-hmm. They went out and beat the 49ers, and they said, "No, that's still not enough. We still need to give Mahomes weapons," and they went out and did it. While Darius like, well, if we beat this team, then we're just gonna play it out. We're gonna see what they do next week. No, and so it's you can see the difference from the organizations where they see that it's not enough.
Did you hear? Did you hear the Bills owner on the radio or general manager talking about not getting players? Did you hear Brett Veach on the radio talking about we ain't getting no? Who can we get? Did you hear that? No. These dudes are burying their heads and trying to get better every single day. And whether this works out for them or not, it's just the simple fact that they're not out here publicly saying, you know what, everybody else need to step their shit up but me. I believe in these young players. I believe in these rookies. I know there's going to be mistakes, but I believe in these guys. We don't need to add no players. Everybody else got to do a better job but me. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, man. It's frustrating, man. I'm trying not to let Jerry Jones, ruin my day, but it's just disappointing just seeing how all these other teams, make moves, even with Kansas City being undefeated, and they still think that it's not enough. They still want to go out and still improve, their roster. And it's just sad because we just sit back, and I just think with Jerry, he just wants the Cowboys just to be around the rim. That's all I think he really wants them to be. I think he just wants them to. Yeah, he just wants them to be around the rim, and it's disappointing, man. That's I just think this season, they just gonna let this shit ride out, and it's not really going. I don't know how many games this team wins. Honestly, they may get a couple more wins on the board, but they probably just gonna let this shit ride out and then find a new coach.
Before the season, I was confident to be a double-digit win team. They'll be playing their way to the playoffs. And I told you guys, every week that passes by, my confidence level kind of decreases in regards to that. Now, I've always been a week-to-week guy anyway, but I don't even want to think about, I don't want to think about week 10, week 12, playoffs, none of that. Because, boy, we got so much to clean up, it's hard to even fathom that even happening.
Right. Yeah, one last question I have for you. So Jerry talked about he kind of hinted a little bit of a trade deadline. I don't know if they make moves or anything, but if they were, because he talked about they need to find some guys that could fit the scheme. Mm-hmm. Who do you see Dallas possibly trading away, and who do you see them adding?
So specifically, I believe, again, I don't like listening to this guy, but when you see all the clips going around, it's like, okay, let me see what's happening here. He specifically brought up Mike Zimmer, and he talked about how certain guys don't fit, which, again, I just find it hilarious. We could have told you that shit in March. In fact, we did tell you that, Jerry. Didn't we? Didn't we say, hey, you bring in this guy, get him his guys that fit the scheme, specifically defensive tackle, right? But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go out and sign, 37-year-old defensive tackles that played for him, 8 years ago or whatever it was, instead of maybe drafting that guy or signing guys that fit or whatever. But who could I see them trading out? Osa Odighizuwa just makes the most sense if they're going to, shop guys, because that was the one guy when he got paid. I'm a big Osa fan. Not paid, but when Zimmer got here, I was like, this, no matter how you want to slice it, this isn't a fit here. I like Osa the player, but the scheme, historically, Mike Zimmer likes bigger defensive tackles, right? But Mike Zimmer didn't draft Osa. So I don't think Mike Zimmer had the juice to be like, man, I know y'all like this kid, but maybe if we can flip him for whatever, let's do it, and let's get a bigger body in here. Osa to me makes the most sense. He probably has the most shine as a trade target, but it's not like the Cowboys are moving from any of their top guys. So I would say Osa. Defensively, because I feel like that's where he mentioned Mike Zimmer and Fitz. So Osa.
Yeah, we got a long way, but we just gonna have to just continue to cheer for this team the best we can, still. So stay strong. To all my Cowboy fans, y'all stay strong too. We still gonna cheer for our boys no matter what, win or lose. So it's always go Cowboys.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Appreciate you, Mississippi Cowboy. That's a good question. We'll ask the chat in here. Again, it sounded like it was a defensive situation, right? So defensively, I already saw a couple other names. Y'all give me a player that has the most attractiveness around them that realistically could be traded. Cause not, hey, I hate this guy, he sucks, let's trade him. Well, if you hate him and he sucks, why would a team want him? So a guy that you believe has some attractiveness to get traded for a pick that the Cowboys would be sellers on. And while y'all do that, let's talk about specs. If you want to play a drinking game, how many times does Stephen Jones say cap? How many times does Jerry Jones say cap? Head on down to Specs and get the best selection of beer, wine, and liquor and fighter foods. Whether you're planning that drinking game, a party, a watch party, or just need a perfect bottle, Specs has you covered. And they're here to make your game days a lot easier. They have same-day delivery or curbside pickup. You can shop online through the Specs app and easily place an order with your local Specs. Trust me, they're all across Texas. You're bound to see one around you. That's Specs. Cheers to you. Cheers to savings. Oh, I know one that I'm surprised you guys didn't bring up yet. Micah Parsons, right? Everybody, yay! It's trade Micah Parsons, baby. Y'all crazy. Clark, interesting. Osa. Well, D-Law's on injured reserve, so don't know if you can even do that. Either safety, preferably both. See, that's the thing, Camo. Donald. See, I thought y'all said those guys suck. So I don't know if you know what you're getting for guys that suck. Trying to find like legitimate. Like Golston makes sense. Osa makes sense. Bland. Oof. Offensively, looking at Martin and Cook says toxic. Trey Lance. Okay, we'll open it up. We'll go offense if you want. You know, I was more so thinking defense because he brought up Mike Zimmer specifically and fits and whatnot. But sure, we can open it all the way up. Trey Lance, like, who is it? Miami. Thought could have used him, but that's dead. Who's the other? Somebody just got hurt, right? Was it the Raiders? I can't remember. I thought it was another team that's dealing with some injuries at Q. I know. I don't know how real this is. Minnesota may be looking to go get Matt Stafford. That's something. Didn't bring up Parsons because you didn't want half of them to cry. No, Rolo, bring him up. If you think the Cowboys are better off trading Micah Parsons, go ahead and say it. I can tell you you're wrong and you're crazy, but hey, that's your opinion. Trade your best player away for a 4th round pick. Yeah, absolutely. And try to replace him and won't do it for 5-10 years. Sure. I gave you my reason last week why you're crazy. Cooks, Deuce Vaughn. I ain't nobody trading for Deuce Vaughn either. Deron Bland is interesting. That one is interesting because are the Cowboys really going to pay 2 corners? Now, he doesn't have to be paid. He still has, what's his 3rd year? So he has the rest of this year and next year, and then it'll be, that's an interesting one. That's honestly one, if this was a really good, and I said this about the Micah Parsons thing, you can have that conversation if you were a team like the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Rams, even the Eagles, because these guys know how to wheel and deal, and they've traded big names, and they recoup them back by trading for. Like, that's not a problem. Your team doesn't do that. Is Bland as big of a name as Micah? No, but he's one of those players that they live and breathe by. A guy that they drafted turned out to be much better than they expected as a day 3 pick, and moving on from them is something they probably don't want to do. But a team that wheels and deals, you probably could flip a Deron Bland for a solid pick and say, okay, bet we believe in, I guess, the young guy, or we go sign a guy in free agency. But this team don't move like that. So I don't know if they would do that. Is Miles Sanders washed? I haven't watched Miles Sanders, can't lie to you. I'll listen to all offers that are saying multiple 1st round picks. My thing is, what are we doing with those multiple 1st round picks? If all the 1st round picks are going to be used for us to just continue to draft and develop, tell me how that cycle works. If I'm using the multiple 1st round picks now to go use them and go get me some established guys at these other positions, maybe within that trade, I get a pass rusher back, right? Like a legitimate pass rusher back plus the picks. I can have conversation, even though who's the pass rusher, right? But if all we doing is, hey man, we traded Micah for a 2025 one, a 2026 one, and we drafted a offensive guard and a wide receiver. Who's our defense ends? Golston and Marshawn Nealon next year? Give me a solid plan and I'll listen. But don't give me this, We just want to continue to draft and develop. It would have to be Herschel Walker. That ain't never happening again, but facts. Herschel Walker, but give me Brett Veach. Herschel Walker, but give me John Lynch. Herschel Walker, but give me, I'm not bringing up his name because I can't stand that organization, so screw them. Give me, I forget his name. Is it Bean or something over there in Buffalo? So for me, I got Osa. I could be talked into Bland because you don't have a lot of assets. But what am I getting for Bland? Osa at this point, you just like, man, whatever you can get. You're not re-signing Osa probably. Probably not happening. We don't wipe them 304s. Drop 2. Appreciate you. He said,
Super chat.
Would Ben Johnson want to coach in Dallas? Like, look, I get it, right? We always laugh about the power struggle here and everything. But another thing we have to realize is the real life situations of these young coaches. Like the understanding that, you know, there's only 32 of these in the league. Now, if you say, well, there's Dallas and there's other organizations, yeah, you're going to compare the two. But if Dallas is throwing a dumb bag at him and saying, hey, man, it's your squad, let's roll, they probably don't look at it like we look at it. You know what I'm saying? We've been here for years. We know how these Joneses move. You know? So, yeah, I could realistically see Ben Johnson if his options are, you know, Jacksonville and Dallas, him saying Dallas, or you know what I mean? But we understand, like, why would you want to come coach under Jerry Jones? If you are in a position to have one of only 32 jobs in the entire world that's going to pay you upwards of $10 million or whatever it may be, with a franchise quarterback, franchise wide receiver, first round tackle, young center, it can be enticing, right? If you can get past Jerry. But that's the big question. Will these guys want to get past Jerry? Shoot, I mean, now if you go miles for Micah, now you talking. You talking about defensive player for a defensive player. Like, then you're talking. But you're telling me we just getting picks and we're going to go out here and draft a receiver and a receiver 1 year and a guard the next year or whatever? Come on, man. What is that doing? How are you getting better? $304.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Can't complain at all. I mean, I just got to say this. We can talk about, you know, trades and our running back situation, offensive line and defensive line, draft picks. We can do all this all day. But let's be honest, man. It is a real cultural issue with us.
Yes.
Like with this team. It is nothing but culture. Nothing but culture.
Sure.
Ever since we won the Super Bowls in the 90s, after that, whenever Jimmy Johnson got ran out of here, and we won in spite of Jerry when he hired Barry Switzer, after that, it was all business for him. So this is all business.
Yeah, somebody
That's
said,
why he's not. He's not buying. He's not spending no money on no big name free agents.
Somebody said this, bro, and you tell me if you agree. One of the fans on Law's show said the worst thing that happened to this team. Well, you could say just Jerry buying it, but the worst thing that happened to this team was what was it? Barry Switzer winning that Super Bowl, because it validated what Jerry was selling to everybody. That I don't need you, Jimmy. I can win without you, even though they won that Super Bowl in spite of Barry Switzer. They won that Super Bowl on the backs of Jimmy's guys. But that's all that Jerry needed was, I did it my way. Because remember what Barry Switzer said? We did it our way. We did it our way, baby. Like, no, you didn't. You did it Jimmy's way. You just happened to be along for the ride, brother.
You inherited his team.
Right.
And you ended up getting one more. And I heard Nate Newton talking about it. He said after that game, he said dudes was in the locker room and they were so relieved, and they all were saying, "Hey, y'all know this is our last one, right?"
This is it. Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with Darren Woodson about it. I've had we've listened to Troy Aikman talk about it. We listened to Mike talk about it. All these dudes knew once Jimmy left, 95 was their last shot. Hell, they were hoping and praying that this could be a Super Bowl year because they weren't playing that great of ball, really. So, you know what I mean? They knew, and they were frustrated. Troy he sat down with Joe Buck and talked about he was frustrated that Jimmy and Jerry couldn't work this thing out because they could have won. He said, I could have had 5-6 Super Bowls with Jimmy here.
Easily. It could have been a dynasty.
Yeah.
It was a very short-lived dynasty, but I mean, we got 3 out of it. But at the same time, what have you seen since then? Jerry's then hired nothing but a bunch of puppets. Chan Gailey, Dave Campo, Bill Parcells came in here, and I was very, very shocked on that. But even Bill Parcells said, how can I cook a gourmet meal when I can't buy the groceries?
And as soon as he wasn't able to buy his groceries, he said, thank you, but no thank you. I'm out of here. You want to bring in Terrell Owens? Yep. See ya.
Exactly.
I'm gone.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
Right. And then you bring in your Wade Phillips, can him, then you bring in your backup.
By the way,
backup boy.
I didn't hear this, but I saw people tweeting it. Did Jerry really say he regretted firing Wade Phillips? Did he really say that?
He said that he wished he would have done it differently. So he didn't regret the firing.
Okay.
He regretted, I guess, how he did it.
Okay, because But bro,
I don't buy that for 1 second.
Why are we bringing up Wade Phillips in the year 2024?
Why are we bringing up Derrick Henry whenever we in week 8?
Well, you know why I'm bringing up Derrick Henry. But brother, he fired Wade Phillips 15 years ago. 14 years ago. I mean, and if he really said he regretted that, has he ever said he regretted the Jimmy thing?
I guess his apology was putting him in the Ring of Honor. I guess that was his apology. I don't think he's ever.
Jerry said, "Hey man, I'm so sad how this went down with Wade Phillips, but Jimmy Johnson, man, that dude, dog."
Facts. A dude that rightfully so should be in the Ring of Honor. You waited how long to do that?
You regret firing Wade.
Yeah, and it's just it's one thing after another with this team.
He regretted.
Okay, let me ask you a question, brother. Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. When is the last time that you can remember us coming back from a significant deficit? Whenever we're down, and it looks like everything is
to win
is done for. Yes, okay. I can think of one game in recent memory. Yeah, it was that 2021 game. We played Atlanta, I think, either week 2 or week 3.
2020, yeah.
And 2021. Remember, we got the onside kick. It was 40-39 or something like that. But that was in week 2, and Atlanta was a terrible team. Every time we're down, I don't know. Do you listen to the sounds of the sidelines, the things that they do?
They only release it when the Cowboys win. Network? But sure, yeah.
Say it again.
They only release it when the Cowboys win, but I do.
That's exactly, and what I want to hear is when they lose. I want to hear what dudes are saying because all I see is a whole bunch of dudes pouting, whole bunch of dudes looking uninterested. Your coach is over there not trying to rally nobody, like a Pete Carroll would do, or like a John Harbaugh would do, or like a Mike Tomlin would do.
Bruh. We front runners.
Huh?
We're front runners. I truly wholeheartedly believe, this is just my opinion, right? I haven't talked to nobody. It's just my opinion. I feel like when teams do get up like that, the team collectively knows, bro, we don't have an answer. And you just see the confidence just gone. We don't have an answer. Look at the 3 games. They dumb dudes didn't have a clue. And then when your coach, talking about Zimmer defensively, doesn't have a clue, and he comes out saying, I didn't have a clue and I planned this wrong and I didn't, bruh, it's a mess, and shouts out to B Bird. I will always reference this. Confidence is built through preparation. The reason why certain teams are so damn confident against you because they've seen in prep that they know they can get at you. And the reason why you come out with the bubble guts and your coach admits after a playoff game, yeah, we were nervous, and your coach says I panicked, and he says, man, this wasn't a great game, because y'all are not confident in what the hell you're doing.
Exactly. And that's straight BS. I knew when we got down 14-0 in that Green Bay game, I was like, it's over. It's a wrap.
Well, you know, I always feel like they'll offensively back in. I don't know about this year. We'll see how it turns around. But in years past, I always felt like the offense is going to fight to get back in a game. But will they be able to win it? That doesn't happen often. It does not happen often, no.
A whole lot of empty yards at the end of the game. You know, Dak might finish with like 450, even though leading up to that, he probably had like 200. You know what I'm saying? Like that happened last year in the Green Bay game too.
Green Bay game.
And
well, I'll tell you what, if you get some stops, you know, maybe it's a different discussion. If you stop the Ravens this year down 28-6, and you get a shot to go win the game. You know what I'm saying? So the Ravens game, I don't consider that garbage time. Like you literally could have won the game. Your defense just didn't get to stop at the end.
Right now, you're right about that.
Just the Ravens.
That was actually a shock to me. But don't you feel like they kind of took their foot off the gas too?
I can't speak for them, but it's not. It's easy to say, well, if they just continue to do X, Y, Z, maybe it's not that close. But guess what? The Ravens have historically shown that they give up 10-point leads, so it's not the first time. They always give up. They always give up big leads, bro. And you know, Dallas had a chance to take advantage of it, and they couldn't get a stop.
That's true. Yeah,
but that's just the Ravens. That's just the Ravens, bro. I mean, we got years worth of evidence that, you know, they get down, which you shouldn't be down by 20 points a whole lot, but they get down by that, you know, 17, 20-point mark. And now it's just like, well, time to try to storm back. And it's just not a sustainable way to win.
Exactly. But who's ever, like, when do you see anyone trying to rally anyone? Oh, like when we're down like that? Like I hear, you know, DeMarcus Lawrence, you know, before the game, you know, he gives his nice little pregame speech. I need to see like some energy. Like it's like we're lifeless over there. Like I'm like, dude, it's like the second quarter. Like, what are y'all doing?
I agree. Look, I know rah-rah stuff doesn't always work, but yeah, I would like to see when I say I want to say this, I don't want confrontation, but I would like to see somebody upset at what's happening. I don't want to see kicking field goals or field goal posts like Odell Beckham or nothing like that. We've seen sometimes they'll release something where you see like J-Ron curse or whatever. But again, it comes down to, or do they have belief? Do you have belief in what's going on out there? These guys always seem to kind of just, as soon as they get punched in the mouth, they just like, oh, well, that's it. And it's every time. It's so weird every time.
And it doesn't matter who we have. It's been year after year after year. We've gone 13 in 3 years. We've had 12 in 4 years, 10 in 6. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, whenever the chips are down to it, teams know that we just don't have that. We don't have the fight. Like overall, as like a franchise. Like this is a franchise thing because I've seen it for too long.
You go. I bring this up a lot, and we'll leave it at this, and I'll get your closing words. When you look at teams like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, hell, even Buffalo, you know, these teams, they have a certain way of who they are from the top to the bottom. Somebody said something the other day about Pittsburgh. You know, no one person is ever bigger than the brand of, or shouldn't call it a brand, bigger than the Steelers, right? They don't have no problem, you know, moving around different. And the Steelers haven't been successful in a long time. But you get what I mean? They still play a certain brand of football. And you have to fit that brand of football. And that brand is usually physical, tough, you know what I mean? Fight. And look, you're not always going to win Super Bowls. You're not always going to win whatever. But the Cowboys brand is finesse. It's kind of soft. It's corporate. It's white collar. It's, you know what I mean? So when they go out year in, year out, and they look like a finesse, white collar, front running ass team, well, that's what the Cowboys are. That's what they've been for a long time.
And I'll just say this, and I'll get out of here. We do just enough to keep the fans interested, meaning that we never going to really go like 4-13, or you know, we don't have too many of them years, barring injury. Mm-hmm. But then when it's time to get to it in January, we fold like laundry. So yeah, man. I mean, we can hope for the best, brother. But yeah, I'll get out of here, man. Good talking to you.
Yep, good talk, man. Always gonna hope for the best. I just hate the fact that I gotta live by the hope creed. Y'all know about that. I know about that. And I know some people say, well, what have the Steelers won or what have Baltimore? I mean, technically they got two. What have any of these other teams? But there is something to those organizations in who they are as an organization. The brand of football they want to play. And then who we are. But appreciate y'all calling in. I know we're still kind of in a therapy type session this week, but I try to mix it up as best I can. And today, if you did miss it, we reviewed the Niners defense against the Cowboys offense, where, I said this yesterday, this is where the game to me is going to be won or lost. I feel like the Niners offense is so depleted and not playing as good that you can, the playing field has been leveled on that side of the ball. If they were healthy, we're talking about a different story. But the playing field is leveled. This side of the ball here is where if the Cowboys can get the advantage, can take care of the rock, right? Score in the red zone, match their energy and physicality, they can win this matchup. It's not going to be easy. The other side of the ball, I think, is a little bit easier to win. This one is going to be tough, man. Tough. And if you missed it, the number one thing I said they need to do, at least through the air, I don't have any confidence unless these tweaks in the run game, right? Rico said we got scheme changes, not big ones, small ones, but we got scheme changes. But I'm gonna wait and see approach with that. But at least in the air, what they need to do, hell, again in the ground too, is they have to have pre-snap motion, at snap motion, to move these safeties. If you missed that film breakdown, go rewind it. To move these corners off of their spots in zone, to get Fred Warner and Devondre Campbell, these linebackers, moving around and thinking. They come out stagnant against the San Francisco 49ers. Fred Warner drops back into the zone, interception, trying to throw a slant. Get ready for it, y'all. I'm just saying, get ready for it. Come out in 2x2, 3x2, stagnant, running CD Lamb on a corner, and we're running some weird shallow underneath. So now two guys is in position. Safety seen this on film. Pick. I'm telling you right now, if that's what we're going to do, get ready for more of the same. Absolutely need to have a much better plan of attack against this team, even if it means we got to muddy this thing up. If we got to play four corner ball, and that's not one I like, but we gotta get a dub. Then do it. Jeremy said no Parsons Sunday, likely not. No Parsons. And I was waiting today to get the, we'll see later today, to get the injury report, but listening or reading, I should say, on .com, it looked like McCarthy had mentioned they have no idea on Bland or Kendricks. They have to wait and see, how they got here in practice. So it doesn't sound promising, but again, we have to go, which is surprising to me. I thought Bland and Kendricks was automatic. Let's go. We still have to see. And because of what happened with Bland a couple weeks ago with the setback, honestly, I'm not stamping him playing or not. Even if he practices in full for the next 3 days, I'm waiting till game day because he had a setback on Friday. So, and even if he does play, that's the first game back. So, I really do hope they get back Kendricks, though. Need that. 2 weeks to prepare. You're right, Toxic. 2 weeks to prepare. I do not want to hear after this game you questioning your game plan again on either side of the ball. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear no excuses, man. Getting to these supers in case I know I've read a few. 23, and I missed one. Shouts out to Jet D. Appreciate you, man. He dropped 2 and says, Skywalker still. Let's go, Cowboys. Thank you, brother. And then, of course, Chris, we don't wife from 304s earlier, said would Ben Johnson want to coach in Dallas, and we kind of talked about that. All right. Appreciate y'all coming through. Do me a favor if you enjoyed today's breakdown. Hit that like button. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk We've been talking, obviously general matchups in the offense, defense, offense, and schemes. Maybe we'll talk individual matchups tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe we'll have a guest. We'll see. And then Friday, we'll get Pat back on. I know we didn't get him last week. We should be getting him back on this week since we were coming off the bye heading into a game. So it's kind of where we're at the rest of the week. Make sure y'all come on through. And of course, me and Jesse Holly are back Sunday night. If you're looking for a place to go watch the game, whether it be just the first half, the whole game, whatever, come kick it with me and Jesse Holly at Canvas Sports and Social. My guy Big Ed usually comes through. I saw you yesterday say you can't come through this week. It's all good, brother. It's all good. But if you are in the DFW area, you want some good vibes, good food, good music, good energy, Canvas Sports and Social got you covered, man. I am the last ape said, our guys gonna let Trent punch them in the face as well. Let me say this before I get up out of here. Because I was kind of that problem player, both basketball and football. Always trying to fight out there. Some people say it's the short people complex or whatever, but help me out, y'all. When the last time that we seen not practice. I'm not advocating throwing punches. I'm not advocating for late hits. But when the last time we seen somebody just get on the field and just do something like that, you ain't got to punch nobody. But Sam, was it Sam? Did Sam do something like that? Or he just been getting just wacky late hits or something? Oh, yeah, I agree. I think Jay... Yeah, there it is, the Napoleon complex. Yeah, some people might say Napoleon complex, but the reason why I was the way I was on the court was because the way I played on the football field. But, yeah, I think Tristan Hill, are you serious? That's the last time we seen somebody getting somebody, grip them up or slow them down, get into fights? Tristan Hill? When did J. Lou and I think J. Lou was a dog. I just can't remember when J. Lou kind of got in that. This is a serious question. I don't remember the last time there was a legitimate damn near fight or a fight on the field because you just pissed off. I know Sam was getting penalties, but I can't remember Sam. I can't remember it. Donald hitting somebody out of bounds. Maybe I should just leave it alone. Because again, I'm not saying I want guys to go out there and just throw a bunch of two pieces. Sorry if I'm triggering y'all here. But when a cornerback gets in your face, mushes you with his face in a playoff game, and I'm not saying swing or nothing like that, and you just take it. I better not see my quarterback get hit late and ain't nobody running over there pushing nobody. You know what I mean? Oh, I know when. Last time was when Lyle Collins was here. All jokes aside, when Lyle Collins was here, there was a late hit or something, on Dak Prescott. Lyle said, not on my watch. I've seen a good number of late hits on Dak Prescott since then. I don't recall nobody on the offensive line rolling over. Maybe Zach did it last year against Buffalo. I think Zach might have did it. But I remember Lyle got suspended because of it. Now, I ain't advocating to get suspended, but where that at? Where that at? Oh, yeah, J. Lou did have that little bark in the Steelers game. You're right. When the dude got thrown down. There was some of that. All right, I got to give it to J. Lou. He did do that. Yeah. Cuzzo used to be that guy. But we don't want a Shaq. We don't want guys to get thrown out the game. But some of that J. Lou, some of that Lyle Collins, Ferg against Seattle. Yeah, you're right, Ferg. I guess there's been some instances. It was a real question because nothing popped in my head. Y'all reminded me. That's why I asked y'all. So yeah, Ferg against Seattle last year. Well, we can't count the Pickens one at the end. I'm talking about during the game, right? When I don't want the Trent Williams type stuff, like during the game, matching that energy. Yeah, J. Lou matched that energy. I gave it to y'all on that one for sure. Ferg matched that energy. Lyle matched that energy. That's all. Appreciate y'all. Help me out on that one. Now, let's get up out here and press this button, man.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Greg Hardy, that was something, bro. That year was so weird, man, because I feel like if Tony doesn't get hurt, we could have been a tough out, man. Could have been a tough out. That defense wasn't a bad defense. Brock Hoffman's done it. We out here, man. Love y'all. Peace. Yeah, I remember DJ, the Commander game, Lyle Collins. That's the one that stand out to me because it was like, man, enough of this. Y'all hitting my cue. J. Lou stood up for himself for sure.